Far, far away, as far south as anyone's ever been, there's a land of ice and snow. It's very different than anywhere that you or I may know, but there are some who call it home. Of course, there are no towns or cities, no shops or houses. In fact, there are hardly any people there at all. But there are plenty of penguins. These creatures live and play and work every day on the cold and snowy ice shelf of Antarctica. Our story is about one little penguin who lives there named Pete. Pete was a happy and cheerful little penguin who was always looking for someone to play with him. "Mama, Mama, Mama, Mama! I heard you the first time, Pete. What do you want?" "Do you want to play ice tag? Please, Mama, please." "I can't right now, Pete. I'm busy making dinner. Go ask your papa." "Papa, Papa, Papa!" "Shh! You're scaring away all the fish, Pete." "Papa, please play ice tag with me." "Can't you see I'm busy fishing? Go away, Pete, and stop bothering me." This made Pete so mad. "Go away! Go away! I can't believe it! The more Pete thought about it, the madder he became. "I'll show them. I'm going to go so far away that they'll never find me." Pete started walking across the ice shelf to get as far away from there as he could. As Pete walked away angry and mumbling to himself about how terrible it was that no one would play with him, he didn't notice what was happening behind him. A small crack had begun to form in the ice shelf. As Pete walked farther, it grew larger, and the longer it became, the wider it got. By the time Pete noticed the crack, it was too late. It was racing across the entire ice shelf, and already the shelf was beginning to tilt. The entire ice shelf that Pete was standing on suddenly shot up into the air. It happened so fast that the little penguin couldn't even jump to safety. His feet fell out from under him, and he started to slide faster and faster down the shelf, away from home. Whoa! Pete didn't know where he was going and couldn't even open his eyes. He was sliding faster than he had ever slid before. Pete was flung up into the sky, which is very scary for a bird that doesn't know how to fly. He tumbled head over heels, upside down and right side up, and upside down again. Whoa! Sliding upside down along the ice, Pete couldn't stop. It seemed like he was sliding forever. Pete slid along the tilted ice shelf until he finally crashed into a snowbank. Bam! The little penguin lay there, unmoving, with his eyes closed. He had hit the snowbank pretty hard. It was quite a while before he woke up. But when he did open his eyes, he couldn't see a thing. It was completely dark. Pete wasn't allowed to go out after dark, and he really wasn't allowed to be this far away from home either. And truthfully, Pete didn't want to be this far away from home. Pete didn't want to be out after dark either. Pete wanted to be home with his mama and his papa. "Mama, Mama, Papa, Papa!" But no matter how loudly Pete yelled, his parents could not hear him. Pete was lost and all alone. Pete was so scared that he couldn't sleep at all. All through the night he kept calling for his parents, but no one heard him. When dawn came, Pete peered through the misty haze, but he couldn't recognize anything. None of the familiar sights of his ice shelf home looked the same. Pete ran here and there, searching for someone, anyone, but there was nothing but ice and snow. There was no one to show him the way home, no one to help him. Frightened and tired, Pete collapsed onto the snow in exhaustion, crying for someone to help him. Pete sat crying in the misty morning until he felt something warm on his face, other than his tears. When the little penguin opened his eyes, he saw that the sun had risen above the mist, and the sky had cleared. Pete rubbed his eyes and looked again, and as he looked around, he saw that he was not alone after all. There were many others here with Pete on the ice shelf. Most of them were penguins, but there were other animals too. Pete didn't know any of them, but he was relieved that he wasn't alone anymore. They might not know where they were either, but at least they were lost together.